Listen to the vibes.
Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Listen to the Vibes. And I'm very happy to welcome Logan Lessar here. He's very young, but he's done quite a bit for someone who's 19.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, Kyle. I've been looking forward to it.
Well, just tell us your story, man.
Yeah, so I've been my main thing throughout my whole life has been racing motocross. That's pretty much been my whole life. Got on my first bike at like the age of 2 and then started racing, I think at like the age of 8. But I've won upwards of about 15 state championships here in Colorado and then a national championship as well. And then also just placed highly top fives, top tens at some of the biggest races in the country. And then through the midst of all of that, I started my first business at 15. And then that's kind of been, I had to balance business, running the business, competing nationally at motocross and school for multiple years. And then last year, I basically was still like half and half business and the racing. And then at the end of last year, I decided that I wanted to put racing on the back burner, just at least for the time being, and go all in on the business side of things. And yeah, that's kind of where I'm at now.
So, were you a life coach?
Yeah, so what I've been doing since when I was 15, what introduced me to the whole area of business and entrepreneurship is drop shipping, which that didn't last very long, and I never got it to work very well. But that eventually led me into the agency space. So I started a marketing agency and basically ended up partnering with my good friend who lives down in South Africa. Which that's what drove me down to actually fly down there at 17. And then I basically go and live down there throughout the year quite a bit down in Cape Town, which I might be leaving to go back down there in a couple weeks. But yeah, so I basically started the agency. That's what I've been doing for like the last three and a half years now. And then only recently I started kind of focusing on building my personal brand and then helping people specifically with getting in shape physically, but most importantly, getting in shape mentally and really just taking control of their mindset.
Most kids around your age, they're more into partying and having a good time. Yeah. What motivated you to get into business instead of hanging out with your friends and drinking and whatever else kids do nowadays?
Yeah, I mean, business in particular, I don't know. I literally came across an ad while I was watching YouTube when I was 15, and it was talking about just the concept of drop shipping, and it just kind of clicked in my head, and I was like, that actually makes sense. Like that makes sense how that would work. And I just wanted to pursue it a little more and try it out and see what happened. And then that just led me down the rabbit hole of just learning about this whole space of being an entrepreneur, online business, and all the possibilities of it and the freedom that can potentially come with it, which obviously a lot of work, but the freedom that can obviously come from it if you're able to really figure it out and everything. And I just kept going. But honestly, in terms of like the partying and doing all the normal stuff that people my age do, I just never had any interest in it because I was always racing. Like that's what I always did. It's such a family sport as well. So I've always been extremely close with my family, and we'd travel across the country together in our motorhome, going to different races. And I didn't even really have much of an at-home life or like a school life. Like I would just go to school. I was always a really good student. I had my very small group of friends, which usually they were I wouldn't say outcasts, but like in middle school, literally me and my group, instead of going to the loud cafeteria, we'd go and hang out and play. I think it was like Clash of Clans or something in some random room somewhere and eat lunch. Like we just didn't really care to go hang out with everybody else. But I just had kind of my small crew of people that I liked hanging out with, and I just didn't really care for any of the usual popular stuff and everything. And since I was focused on racing, I had zero interest whatsoever in doing any of the dumb things that would mess that up, such as drinking or getting into any type of like vaping, smoking, drugs, anything like that. Like I always just had zero interest in it whatsoever. And I could still say to this day, I've never even tried one time any of those things other than when I was in Cape Town. I obviously had some fun going out to clubs and things like that with some drinks, but even that I could literally care less about. So yeah, racing is probably what kept me from all of that.
And you've gotten started, and I mean, you're doing a lot. Most kids haven't done half the stuff that you've done so far. But what is your ultimate goal? What are you looking for in life?
Ultimately, I want to have the three freedoms, which is financial, time, and location. So I want to have the financial freedom to basically never have to look at the cost of anything again. And I want to be able to retire both my parents. Now, I know my daddy's not a fan of what he does. My mom, on the other hand, she does enjoy at times what she does, but I want to give her the option to do kind of whatever she wants. And I want to retire both of them and then also just be able to take care of my family regardless on the financial side. And then aside from that, I want to have the time freedom to literally, the way that I look at it is if I disappeared for an entire month and nobody heard from me and then I came back, everything would still be running and I would still be totally fine. And my cash flow machines would still be working in terms of businesses and things like that. And then location freedom. I mean, we saw in the last couple of years what can happen. And I want to be able to have that freedom where if I decide to, I can fly to Switzerland tomorrow or Cape Town or whatever and go stay there for 3 months. Like I want to have that. So overall, summed up into one word, freedom, but specifically broken down into those three areas. But yeah, and I just love the adventure. Like I've always been a adventure seeker and just I like doing crazy stuff, like flying to South Africa on my own at 17 in the midst of COVID and then racing and all kinds of other crazy sports and things. So I like to just always have something to look forward to and just I like new experiences. So I just want to be able to always have that and never be held down by anything. I'd rather make basically no money, but be in charge of my life versus making a lot of money, but being held down. And mainly the mindset of just making no money, but knowing that I'm 100% in control of where I'm headed in terms of like, as long as I stick to this path and these habits and I'm focusing on building this, eventually I'm confident I will start making the money. But right now I'm not making anything and that's fine, blah, blah, blah. So I'd prefer to be in that situation versus being in more of a secure situation, but knowing that I'm quote unquote stuck.
Yeah. Are you motivated to help people in general just because that's you, or is it just the mindset of, well, this is my job, this is what I want to do?
Yeah, so it's interesting because I honestly had zero intention of becoming an online coach or anything like that. Because for years I had seen them all online, all of these gurus, and I was like, I am never going to do that ever. Like, I don't want to be the one online saying I will coach you or blah blah blah, or I'll help you do this. But over time, with my agency specifically, I learned that I actually do genuinely like helping people because when I first started my agency, all I cared about was money. I was super greedy. I just wanted to make money, land clients. I didn't care what happened to the clients. I just want to land them and make the commission. But then once I started working with the clients on helping grow their business, then I started to see like the impact we were having both positively and negatively because it didn't always work. And one of the worst feelings ever was when I had a client who we weren't getting results for, and I'd be hopping on a call like this, and I would be going into it knowing this is not going to go well. They're unhappy. We're not getting the results. But on the flip side, the best feeling in the world was when we were getting amazing results and the client was super happy. Their business is growing because of what we were doing. And I genuinely loved that. And then that kind of eventually that taught me that I actually do really care about helping people. And then aside from that, mindset has become such a massive part of just my life. And I could talk about it all day long, hence why I get on podcasts like this. But I just love mindset because of how much it affected my racing career towards the end and how it's affected just not only my business, but also just my life in general. Like I genuinely know for a fact, once you're able to control your mindset and your reactions to things and understanding your emotions and having that emotional control, you can live a much better life every single day versus letting those things in your mind control you. So I just know the impact it's had on me. And then I've just happened to help some people around me, such as my own family members, a few of my friends, and I just loved it. And then eventually I kind of learned about the idea of building a personal brand and actually helping people on a broad spectrum. And I decided that that's kind of what I wanted to pursue now.
Does anybody ever give you a hard time about what you do?
Nobody yet. I mean, the personal brand and stuff is relatively new. I've obviously had negative comments and things like that, but at the end of the day, if I make a post and one person gains something from it, then that's well worth it.
Oh yeah, definitely. Well, I got onto your social media, and I'll be honest with you. I mean, don't get me wrong, I understand the importance of social media. I've just kind of, I don't know, moved away from it because there's so much garbage on there.
I can get it. Yeah, I can totally understand that.
You know, and most kids your age, they're posting about what they bought at the mall or what they're having for lunch or hanging out at the beach, whatever.
Yeah.
And I didn't see any of that on your social media. Everything was motivational.
For my close buddies, I see what they post on Instagram, and I would genuinely be like, why? Like, why would you post that? And why would you want other people to have that perception of you? Like, I just don't get it. Like, it's so temporary thinking. And social media to me is a way that you can actually help people on a very large spectrum, but you can also build something for yourself as well. Like, there's never been a better opportunity in the world other than social media. Like, it is the greatest opportunity ever, because you can, I mean, in the past you had to be an actor or in a high level sports athlete to have this large following. And now you can go and post on social media consistently and post valuable things and build this large following of people who genuinely have gained something and learned something from you that's actually helped them, and B, they absolutely adore, love you, like they are your tribe, and it's extremely powerful. And I don't see any other point behind social media other than doing that. And yeah, I can't post anything that like I would never post anything that is going to give the false like view of me. Like, for example, if I posted myself next to a private jet or something like that, I could never post that unless if I actually owned that or something. I could never ever post that, because then that would give people the idea that, oh, this guy must own a private jet, or it would have people thinking, oh, look at this faker, blah blah blah. Like, everything I want to post, I want to be real, and I want it to be based off of either what I am doing currently or what I've already done, and kind of just my process along the way. But social media is full of, like you said, a lot of fakers, a lot of just people trying to make themselves look better than they are. Whereas I just want to be real.
And what gets me, and it doesn't matter what you post, there's always going to be that person, I guess they call them trolls, that are going to come in and post something negative. Yeah, I actually posted about this lady that I interviewed, and she's literally on her deathbed. And she's got maybe months, maybe a year or so to live. And she's spending the rest of her time trying to help other people, trying to motivate them, writing books, that kind of thing. And someone in her position, should probably be taking it easy and getting ready for the end, doing whatever you can before it's over. And I thought, man, how could anybody say anything negative about this?
Yeah.
And lo and behold, someone did.
Yep.
It doesn't matter what I post. There's always going to be that person who's going to come in and say something negative. How do you deal with that?
I just look at it as people hate on what they gave up on. So if somebody sees me, if they see a post of me working out at the gym and they hate on that, well, that's because they gave up on physical body and they gave up on going to the gym, eating healthy and stuff. So they're just hating on the fact that they gave up on it. And if they see me, I made a positive comment. It was on somebody's post. I don't know who it was. It was probably like Gary Vee or Bradley or somebody. And I made a positive comment of kind of bouncing off of what they said. And the person said something along the lines of, calm down, bro. You're too young to be saying blah, blah, blah. And I was like, why? Like, why why write that? Like, can you not just see the value that I'm trying to provide, and also the fact that I just think that this video is awesome? Like, I put some positivity out there, and then they had to come back with negativity, and I just sit there and I'm like, first of all, you hate on the fact that you gave up on whatever it is that you're hating on, and aside from that, you've got way too much time. Like, you're not doing anything with your life if you are seriously spending the time hating on somebody else. Like, I don't think I have ever once written a negative comment. And the last thing I'll mention on that is, I can't remember who said it, but they were asking the question of, do you think that Kobe Bryant wrote YouTube comments? Like, no, of course not. So yeah, I don't even pay attention to it.
It's all about your maturity. If you've taken life a little more seriously than other people, then I'd be more open to listen to you. But do you get a lot of reluctance from people just because of your age?
I think I haven't like seen it directly. Like, I haven't had people tell me directly, but I'm 100% sure that that is a thing, where that was what that guy was mentioning. And with his comment is, he was like, calm down, like, you're too young to be blah, blah, blah. And I think that, I know for a fact that people do. They probably see my posts and they're like, what does this guy know? Blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, like you said, I have taken life seriously. Like, most of these people are out here jacking around, mainly people my age who just aren't taking it seriously. And I look at it and I'm like, listen, you get one life, you get one shot at this. And right now I'm in the prime of my life. Like, I'm in the best time. And I'm also in the best time because I can take very massive risks with very little consequences, in terms of, I don't have a family and mortgage and all these things that I have to take care of. Like, I can go and try a bunch of crazy stuff. And if I figure something out before I'm like 21 or 22, then I'm like set, and I'm going to be living it up while my buddies are still going to be in college partying and drinking. Like, I'm going to have my stuff figured out. I just look at it that way. And I can't live, like, I find zero joy or enjoyment from doing those degenerate type things. Like, I want to actually do something real. And I want to be looked up to, like, I want to have that status, and I want to have that large following and kind of have that quote unquote fame and everything. Like, I do want that, but I want it in a good way. Like, I don't want to be one of those YouTubers or one of those Instagram people who post dumb stuff and get a giant following because they're being an idiot online, because that's not them in person, most likely. Like, they probably make that post and they probably won't even look at it because they don't like that version of them. Whereas a lot of the posts that I make, I'll go and rewatch it because I'm like, man, that was a good one. I said that. I like that. Like, I like that. And it's because it's me. Like, I like to put that out there. But no, going back to what you said, I definitely know for a fact people will look at me that way. But if they can just look past the age and see kind of why I'm doing it and the approach I'm having just at life and everything, and the things that I've already done, because I do think that I have had quite a bit of experiences, especially by the age that I'm at, then I think that people could gain something from my message 100%.
Well, I didn't really mature until I was in my late 30s. I still thought life was a party. I mean, don't get me wrong. I worked hard and I paid the bills and took care of my family, but I couldn't leave the drinking and drugs and all that stuff alone. And it took a heart attack for me to, change the way I lived my life. But going back to talking about the stupid stuff people post, I have a friend who's very popular on YouTube. He's got quite the following, makes real good money.
Yeah.
But the stuff he posts are the stupidest things I've ever heard of. And it's always on whatever the topic is of the day. Kim Kardashian did this, yada, 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 or whatever. Okay. I can't do that. I know I could become more popular if I got into more of that kind of stuff, but it doesn't bring anything to the table. There's nothing positive about it. It's just more negativity that's thrown out in the world. And I know it's got to be tempting at times. It's been tempting for me at take me through the steps. If somebody comes to you and wants to get your help, what are your processes?
Yeah, literally, it's just my Instagram where I'm posting daily. They could just go find me there, just Logan_Lessar. And regardless, I think my Instagram is already packed full of things that people could gain something from. And then if they did want to take that next step, then they can just message me on there. And I've just got a few programs that they can join specifically that'll get them in really, really good physical shape. And then also I'll help them with their mindset side of things so that they can eliminate those vices in their life and those things that are just going to hold them back, and really figure out what it is they truly want and why they want it, where they're looking to get to, and that destination, and then figure out kind of the path in order to get there. Because I think that's something a lot of people miss, is that clarity of where it is they want to go, because then it is scary. It's like you're standing out in the middle of a desert with a million different directions to walk in and you don't know where to go. Like, that's a scary feeling. But as soon as you can figure out and pinpoint where it is you want to go and why it is you want to get there, which that's the most important thing to me, then you can kind of plot out your path and figure out not the path that will work, but the path that you think in the moment will most likely get you there. And most likely you're going to have those drawbacks of like, oh shit, that didn't work. Never mind. I need to try this. But at least you've still got the direction figured out, So that's one of the first things I'd say I help people with. But yeah, it's literally just my Instagram. But it's funny you mentioned that with your friend, because I was just talking to my brother actually this morning on the way home from the gym, because I drag him to the gym at 5 a.m. But I was talking with him on the way back, and he's a decent bit younger than me. But I was mentioning how I literally made a post that's going decently viral, and it had like 600 views at the time this morning. And I mentioned it to him, and he's like, really? Only 600? And I'm like, yeah, when you post legit valuable things, it doesn't go as viral right away. And then I mentioned to him, I was like, I could easily go post something really stupid of me doing something dumb, and I guarantee it would go super viral. But I would never do that, because I can't put that out there, because that's not me. So it is funny how the world works that way.
Are you prepared for when someone has, say, a physical disability that makes it more difficult for them to exercise and do all those other things they need to do in order to get in shape?
Yeah, to be honest, it would definitely be more of a challenge, but to me, I would just figure it out. Whatever it is, I would try to work with the person, figure out whatever it is that they can do, because I think that anybody can get in shape regardless of their situation or whatever their disability is. So I'm not saying that at the moment anybody could come to me and I know exactly what to do, but if they did come to me with something that I haven't seen, then I would still put in the effort to try and figure it out and figure out what it is that they can do and how I can help them out. Definitely, because it's just so well worth it.
Do you have a website?
No, not yet. It's literally just my Instagram. If people go check me out there, that's my home base at the moment.
Yeah, you have other social media sites though, right?
Yeah, I do. I've got a YouTube. If you search my name, I've got a YouTube. I've got previously Twitter, but now X. So I've got an X account. To be honest, that sounds explicit. I've got an X account.
Right.
I wonder if Elon thought of that. But no, I've got an X account. I've got Instagram and all of that. But Instagram is definitely my main place. I've got TikTok too, but I try to stay off TikTok. Actually, I never go on TikTok. I post on there and then I leave the app. So no, yeah. But Instagram's my main place. This thing, like, even that I learned through the racing and also through business and everything, is that you never fail if you never stop, because the only way that I could see failing, like, for example, with business, a lot of people don't start things because they're worried about what other people will think of them and all those types of things. Whereas, to be honest, you cannot fail unless you stop. Like, if you start a business, even if you're not making money for years, but you're still working on it consistently and constantly, and you're putting in the effort, people will respect that. And it might take some time. Like, at first they might be like, my friends used to do it. They were like, why do you work so hard on this? Like, why don't you have some fun? And why don't you just live? And I'm like, I am living. This is what I like to do. And over time, they eventually now respect the work ethic and everything. And even if you're not making the money or you're not successful, quote unquote, yet, they'll still respect the effort. The only way that you can actually like officially fail is if you threw in the towel and stopped. Because at the end of the day, like obviously things are going to go wrong and it's not always going to work out, but you're simply just finding the different ways that it doesn't work. You're not like failing. Like it's not actually failing. It's just finding ways it doesn't work. And then you only got to find one way that it does usually, and then you're pretty much set. But that's the one thing that I'll leave them with, because I think it's one of the most powerful things to understand.
I'm going to put all of your links in the description to make it easy for people to find you. And man, I appreciate you coming on the show and sharing with us today.
For sure. Thanks, Kyle. I appreciate you having me.
And I also want to thank all you folks out there. If you are new to the channel, well, I hope you'll come back. Please hit that subscribe button for my regulars. You guys are awesome because you make it possible for me to do this. Until the next one, everyone, please take care. Be kind to one another. God bless and peace.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of Listen to the Vibes. You can catch us on Buzzsprout or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts, and on YouTube. Follow us on Facebook at The Vibes Broadcast Network